Now let's carry on. Now we have our second speaker.
Yes, she's the president of Friends for NTT. Her goal is to bridge the gap in education in Indonesia by making good learning facilities accessible to fellow students in rural parts of Nusa Tenggara Timur.
With the topic of bridging the gap in education, let's give a big round of applause for Catherine Alexandra.
I want you to imagine a group of thousands of islands where inside of it is just all of this beauty. A tropical paradise where the crystal clear blue waters meet the white sandy beaches. A diverse species of flora and fauna, unique to the island only, world-class hotels, and a culture and people just as beautiful as the island that they live in. Where is this place, you may ask? This is Nusa Tenggara Timur, which I will shorten as NTT for the rest of my talk. So many praises have been sung about just how beautiful NTT is, about the large potential it has, and yet it still seems to fall behind other Indonesian regions in terms of development. In 2022, NTT's Human Development Index was ranked 32nd out of the 34 Indonesian provinces. Why is it ranked so low? Well, when you consider the fact that education is such an important factor when it comes to determining how high or how low a province's Human Development Index is, it suddenly becomes so clear why NTT's Human Development Index is ranked so low. Because education quality there still needs significant improvement. And the fact that it still needs significant improvement impacts the future of NTT. Them, the youth who will be building and making changes on the future of NTT. Now, I want to ask you all a few simple questions. But before that, can we practice a little bit? Can I see the audience raise their hands? Yes, thank you. You can raise your hands to share your answers if you feel like you've experienced any of the things I've mentioned inside my questions. So, let's get started. First question, who here already knows where they're going to for university? I know I have. Okay, I see some hands there. Thank you. Next question, who here already has a secure and stable job position? Can I see some hands? Thank you for answering. I am so happy and so glad that all of us here are able to make such achievements. And I'm sure we're also all aware that one of the most important reasons why we're able to make such big and amazing achievements is because we received good quality education for a part of our lives, or what I believe is a standard for all of us here, a majority of our lives. But this is something that they didn't get. One of the reasons why they didn't get this is because in order to ensure the quality of education that is delivered to students, you need good learning facilities. And they don't have access to this. And the fact that they don't have access to this makes it harder for them to achieve brighter futures, and it also leads to a large gap in education between NTT and Jakarta in terms of learning facilities and opportunities. As you can see, in highly populated parts of Jakarta, tall buildings and skyscrapers are everywhere. And inside some of these tall buildings and skyscrapers are prestigious schools and universities. And since this is Jakarta that we're talking about, I think it's safe to assume that these schools and universities will come equipped with modern, good quality learning facilities. But when we look inside of NTT, the reality is far different. The basic infrastructures of schools are still really fragile, with desks and chairs directly above soil, walls made out of bamboo sticks, and sometimes students there don't even have access to the most basic of study tools that we use here in the city, like textbooks, stationaries, and technology, as well as the internet. Unbelievable, right? But this is the reality. And if you still don't believe this, I have a few more pictures to show you. Compared to the state of education that exists in rural NTT, obviously the state of education in Jakarta and other urbanized parts of Indonesia is going to be significantly better. Why? Because they have more resources to invest into their education system as well as their learning facilities. This means that students who go to schools in cities have more access and more opportunities to good quality education as well as good quality learning facilities than students who go to schools in rural and remote areas. And well, I'm one of those students. I'm currently a 12th grade student attending Francis School, and if you didn't know, Francis School is located in Tangerang, which is another urbanized city in Indonesia. This means that I have more access to good quality education and as well as the opportunity to use the good quality learning facilities that come with this education. What are some examples of this? Well, it can range from something as simple as being able to study in air-conditioned classrooms, using technology and the internet to study whenever I need to, and having a wide range of extracurricular activity options to choose from to help me explore my passions. Meanwhile, students in rural NTT don't have as much access to good quality education, extracurricular activities don't have as many options, and educational infrastructure as well as learning facilities often need significant fixing or renovating. The lack of access to good quality education is one of the biggest factors of why this education disparity in Indonesia still exists to this day and is widening as time goes on. This is because in order to ensure the quality of education that is delivered, as I've said before, you need suitable infrastructure. And this includes good quality learning facilities. You can clearly see the difference in urbanized areas and rural areas by comparing these facilities. Here, the libraries are filled to the brim with books that have the ability to inspire young minds. Laboratories are equipped with modern technology, and classrooms are set up in a way that promotes active and interactive learning between teachers and students. In contrast, a lot of schools in rural NTT don't even have functioning libraries and laboratories, and sometimes they don't even have access to the most basic of things, like access to safe drinking water, or maybe even sanitary washrooms that are both clean and functional. But the problem just doesn't stop here. Did you know that rural and remote areas often experience more problems than just a lack of physical infrastructure? Teachers, who are literally the pillars of education, still experience struggles like insufficient training and a shortage of supplies. And these are just some of the problems that they experience that make it harder for them to carry out their job properly, which is preparing the youth for the future. And because they work in such remote locations, it is so hard to find educators who are both qualified and committed enough to teach in these rural and remote areas for the long term, which leads to teacher shortages in rural and remote parts of NTT. And aside from that, parents also face financial problems that make it harder for them to purchase things such as uniforms, textbooks, stationaries, shoes, and pay for things such as school fees. Not being able to pay for these things makes it harder for them to give their child the additional educational support that they need. And just by comparing the pictures that I'm showing to you right now with the pictures I've shown you of facilities found in urbanized areas previously, you can clearly see that Eastern Indonesia tends to receive less government support than other Indonesian regions. Having less government support means they don't have as much resources to invest into their education system and learning facilities. And all these problems combined form a vicious cycle that constantly goes on and on and on, and just further widens because nobody is doing something about it. But now you might be wondering, well, if the problem has gone this bad, surely there have been things done to fix it or at least make it less severe, right? Well, I mean, you're not wrong. The government has given funds to NTT to invest more into their education system and learning facilities, as well as launch a nationwide program that aims to ensure students who come from financially struggling backgrounds still have the opportunity to pursue an education. But as you can see in these pictures that are taken just recently, by the way, it's still not enough, which is why us students at Francis School established Friends for NTT. Friends for NTT is another one of Francis School Student Council programs that aims to help bridge the education gap that exists between NTT and other more developed parts of Indonesia through making good quality learning facilities more accessible to students in rural NTT. And with the support of the communities around us, in 2021, Friends for NTT was able to debut with its first ever project, the Painting Auction Night. In this project, paintings made by Francis School students were auctioned off in order to help raise funds in the construction of the Santa Familia School that is located in Kupang, NTT. Through this project, we were able to raise a total of 40,500,000 rupiah to donate to the construction of this school. Can I please hear a round of applause from the audience for this amazing achievement? Thank you. And in the following year, we participated in an open book donation program organized by a church. And because of that, we decided to open our very own open book donation program called NTT Bisa Baca. And with the active participation of our donors, we were able to donate a total of 517 books to students in the Malacca Regency of NTT. Like, wow, that is a lot of books. And we look forward to doing so much more to help ensure brighter futures for more students in rural NTT. So I guess we can conclude that the education disparity that exists between NTT and Jakarta and other more developed parts of Indonesia is a pressing issue that requires our most immediate attention. Making the general public aware of this issue is so important, because how are we supposed to help these students and give them the support and tools that they need to achieve a bright future if people aren't even aware that this problem exists? Making the general public aware of this issue is also a good thing, because the more people realize that this issue exists and how severe it is, we can start more actions and more movements that will work toward achieving education equality in Indonesia. So by bridging this education gap, we are then able to empower the next generation of leaders, innovators, and change makers by giving them the tools that they need to make a significant and positive impact on the growth of our beloved country. Let's work together to build a future in which every Indonesian child, regardless of where they come from, has an equal opportunity to pursue an education that will help them reach their fullest potential. So while helping one person might not change the whole world, it can change the whole world for that one person. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so important that we don't let these words just stay words, because it's about time that we start turning these words into real actions that will have a real impact on the world. I'm Erin, representative of Friends for NTT. Thank you.